The 5th of September, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Manhig.
Hainu Manhig. I think we're trying to see if we did we do the one before? I'm not sure if we did the ones before that. Elolav Rabbanan. I'm not sure if we did those.
Oh no? Okay.
I'm not sure. Let's start a couple more lines up.
Okay.
Elolav isn't the Rabbanan. The Ashma'inin we learn the Bayoshev who that if he's sitting he's parta. No, that we did. Abol Rochev lo, but if he's riding, no. But Fufta, it's a contradiction. The Rav Yehuda, the Bishat Rochev that he says, Rav Yehuda says the Rochev does the Bishat Rochev Miyushav. The rider is riding is sitting. Manhig Kabara. I don't know if we did this, but this part maybe we didn't do. Manhig the Greg Light. So now he is leading it with his feet. So the guy sitting on top is doing something because he's using his feet to lead it. The Kaniya that he acquires it, the Meshicha.
Meshicha, right.
Shaboai, because he's kicking with his foot. The Holechet, and it goes. Mechamato from its so to speak from it's being getting angry at being kicked. So that's why he's going. Kederech rochve susim, like the way that somebody who rides horses, rides horses by kicking with his feet. And he kicks it with his feet, and then it moves. So that's in a sense causing it to do something. It's causing a Mashiach, and therefore he does acquire it. And that's where he said, this is like he's leading it. His abbreviation, Halomer. Avilay is to him, the mission is mission. Or that there are two leaders in this, not just one. There are two people who are leading it.
Yeah, so the Gemora is saying it doesn't sound right that's what the Mishnah is saying, because if that would be true, then the Mishnah would have to categorize that by wording the case is that a case where both of them were being manhig. Not because when it says one is manhig and the other one is riding, it sounds like the one that's doing manhig is the one who's on the ground, and the one who's riding, he's not doing any manhig, he's just riding. So based upon the language of the Mishnah, the Gemara is challenging this answer that the Gemara is giving. Okay. And on that, the Gemara dismissed the challenge. My new manhig.
Are we doing this last Rashi on the page too? That there are Shrei, Gavani, Avani. There are two ways of leading.
Right. This is the Gemara's answer that there is there's the Mishnah wants to talk about this case because it's teaching us a halacha that we would not have known. It's teaching us that there's two different types of manhig. There's a manhig of the rider on the animal, and there's also the one who's on the ground, and both of them are kohen. See what Rashi explains. Trey Gavnik manhig.
You want me to do the Rashi or Lou to do the Rashi on this one?
Yeah,
Up to you.
we read this part of the Gemara, but we didn't read the Rashi yet.
I understand. You want me to read the Rashi? You want Lou to read the Rashi? I don't care.
Oh,
Just let me
Lou,
know.
yeah, if Lou is there. Lou, sorry, yes, I wasn't looking at the screen. Yes, Lou, please read.
Okay, what's the Dibra scale?
There are two lines from the bottom.
Trey
Ganbe,
Gavne Manhig.
two types of leading.
D'i Eshmo'inan Vishnei Manhigim Diachlochu Lo Hayinu Yodim the high Mahu Ditema Kule. That if it's being used by two leaders, that they divide it. And it's not, I'm sorry, we do not know what to say.
Ti Ashmeinen Bishnei Manhigim Diachloiku. If the Mishnah would have written, if we would have heard from the Mishnah Shnei Manhigim, in other words, the Mishnah would have written if there's Shnei Manhigim, so then they divided equally. Lo Hainu Yodim, we would not have realized, we wouldn't have been aware of Lahai Ma'udatema. We would not have been aware of this Kiddush of the Mahudatema that the Gemara is saying. Yeah?
What's the Kiddush?
Oh, so what is the Kiddush? So the Kiddush is that, let's take a look back at what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, and this is by the Mahuda Tema. This is 3 lines up from the bottom of the page of the Gemara. The first word in the line is Tema. So just take the Mahu from the previous line, last word of the line, Mahuda Tema. In other words, the Gemara is saying, what would you have thought if the Mishnah would have just have told you that there's two manhigim in this case, and they accordingly they divide it equally. Ma'udatema, because you would have thought to say, otherwise you would have thought to say Rachov Adif. You would have thought to say that the kinyan of the rider is adif. It's a preferable kinyan. It's gonna acquire the whole animal, and to the exclusion of the other manhig on the ground. Why? The manhig of a tafus ba, because the rider, he's doing 2 things. He's manhig. When he digs into the animal, he causes the animal to go. So that's called being manhig, the animal, to lead it on its way. And in addition to that, he's toughest bo. He's in a certain sense, he's holding on to the animal by the fact that he's riding on it. So we would have thought that combination of exercise of authority over the animal, that would have given the rider an exclusive kinyan, and it would have excluded the one who's leading it on the ground. So Kamash Malan, the Gemara says, the Mishnah comes to teach us otherwise, that the kinyan of the rider who's doing who's also manhig is not preferable to the kinyan of the manhig who's only doing manhig on the ground. So that's how Rashi's understanding the Gemora's challenge. When the Gemora says that if we would have just heard from the Mishnah about two manhigim, if that's where the words of the Mishnah would have been, and they divide it, we would not have realized the chiddush that the Gemara is coming to tell us.
The chiddush being that the rider's position is not better than the person who's walking.
Right. Yeah, it's a bit involved with the steps of the Gemara over here to understand each step what the Gemara's thoughts are is a bit complicated. Okay.
So we learned from this that riding does constitute a valid kinyan.
Well, we're learning that a riding which includes being manhig by kicking the animal and causing it to move, that's the type of riding which will constitute a kinyan. But at the end of the day, we're saying that if all the rider is doing is just riding and he's not doing any kicking, so he's no better than the one who's sitting in the cabin. And with that, we've defended Rav Yehuda, because Rav Yehuda was the one who wanted to derive what the din Rav Yehuda wasn't talking about the Mishnah. He was just talking about a din of a manhig, and comes out according to the conclusion of the Gemara that our Mishnah does not represent a tiyuvta to Rav Yehuda. That's what the Gemara is defending Rav Yehuda right now and saying that no, because the Mishnah is talking about a rider who's doing more than merely riding on the animal. He's leading also. He's a rider who's also doing leading, and unlike that, he is able to make a kinyan on the animal. But like that, we have not refuted Rav Yehuda. In other words, the Gemara said tiyufta, but the Gemara defended after the tiyufta. More sometimes says tiyufta. Do we have a tiyufta? And if the Gemara repeats Yes, tiyufta. That sounds that with that the Gemara is saying yes, it's a knockout. We knocked him out. But now here the Gemara is defending Rabbi Yehuda and saying no, Rabbi Yehuda he hasn't been refuted because he's talking about the type of a rider which could be learned out from the case of the guy that's sitting in the cabin doing nothing. He's riding and he's also doing nothing. Riding on the animals is doing nothing, and this that he's holding on to the bridle, that doesn't make any kinyan at all. Like we learned from Rava. Rava told us that the only time that Mosera, holding on to the bridle, constitutes a kinyan is when the owner of the animal gives the bridle over to you, and then you're holding the bridle. Yeah, that's called a kinyan. That's called a kinyan. But even to pick up the bridle of an animal that was owned by a ger who was nifter and didn't have any inheritors, or from an animal that was hefker and you just found it and you pick up the bridle, that's not a kinyan. Okay. Right, and the Mishnah challenged, the Gemara challenged the Gemara's answer, saying, "How could you say that that's the type of a rider that you're talking about over here? If that would be so, that he's that type of a rider, then you should have had to said that in the Mishnah. You should have had to say when there's two leaders, when there's two manhigim, the din is you say achloku." And that the Gemara says no, because we needed to teach this Chiddush. And if we only had the lashon of two leaders, we wouldn't have understood that there was a Chiddush that we wanted to teach. Okay. And with that, we go to the Toshma, which is 2 lines from the bottom of the page. Tafshin, Toshma. And we go to Alan to continue the reading.
Okay.
B3, Alan, on the right-hand column, bottom of,
in summary,
no, the Gemara cites.
okay. The Gemara challenges. The Gemara reading. Gemara cites a brisa to support Rabbi Yehuda's position. Torah Shema, coming here at brisa. Shenayim shehoyu moshechin kormal. If 2 persons were pulling a camel, if or if they were leading a donkey, shehoyor echod moshech, or if one was pulling the animal, echod minchiv, and the other leading it. Zos konu, if the kinyan is performed in this manner, they acquire the animal. Rav Yehuda Omer, Rav Yehuda says, Leolam lo kono ad shet hey mishet kohor nigo. One can acquire a camel only through pulling. More, and a donkey only through leading. The Gemara now presents this proof. At any rate, the Tanakhama teaches, Moshech, a cord, or if one was pulling and the other leading an animal, they acquire it. Moshe Umanahi Ain, Brisa, which lists the effective types of Shikha. But amidst riding, thus teaches that if one was pulling or leading, then yes, he does acquire. This implies a vowel slow, but if one were riding, then no, he would not acquire. This corroborates Yehuda's position that even riding alone does not constitute a valid kinyan. We rest this proof.
Okay, I'll stop here. I don't think you should go on. I think you see if there's any Rashi's up to this point.
Who
We got a break here before what the proof is before we get about it.
It is possible that the same law applies.
Alan, we're gonna read the Rashi now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we have actually, we didn't do this these last 6 words of Rashi on Amud Beis, which, because the reason we didn't do them is because we weren't ready to do them yet. Now we're ready to do them because we read this Toshma with the Gamal and the Chamor, the camel and the donkey, 2 different animals. So we're talking about a different type of a kinyan for each animal.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Phil, want to read the?
So we're on the other page first. We're up to, so on the page before, the last lines with the Chamar, the Rachvo, doing the donkey with its rider, Bihan Haga, and leading it. The Gamal, Darcho with his rider, his way. No, the way Darcho is the way of. Its way.
Right.
Chamor, the way is Nehaga, leading it, but to acquire it. The Gamal, the camel, its Darko, its way of acquiring it is B'shicha. You have to do Mashicha on a camel to make it go.
I don't understand. What's the difference between Manhiga and Mashicha?
Let's see. I mean, a Mashiach is definitely pulling it along, and the other one is leading it. Now the question is, how is a lead? You're wondering how if you're pulling it, aren't you leading it? Well, one is pulling it. So one is when you do a Mashiach, it's not that you're taking the animal and you're pulling it towards you to say, I'm getting this animal. Okay, that's what a Mashiach is. So it's a pulling it towards you to acquire it. It's now mine. As opposed to a leading it is I'm not pulling it towards me. I'm just taking the animal and I'm making it go forward. It's like 2 directions of the way it's going. So one way I'm taking it, it's now mine. I'm pulling it towards me. That's a Mashicha. Whereas the leading it is I am now in front of the animal and I'm making the animal go forward, away from me, away in the direction he's leading it to a new place. So that's what a manhig is as opposed to a mashiach. That's my idea. The rabbi can disagree. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't understand what you said. I mean, if you're leading it, it's coming towards you. If you're pulling it,
it's not. No, you're not. If you're on the street and you're pulling it forward, not to you.
You're pulling it forward.
You're pulling it forward to go someplace else, to a new place. But a Mashiach isn't necessarily leading it to a new place. A A Mashiach is saying, I want this animal. I'm pulling it towards me. I'm not taking it to a new place.
So leading it is taking it to a new place as opposed to pulling it towards your.
Leading it. You're say you have a wagon and a cart, right? And this animal's leading it. You are making the animal go ahead, as opposed to a Mashiach is an act of kinyan saying, I really want this animal and I have to make it, I want this animal to be mine, and I'm pulling it towards me, not to a new destination.
So manhig is pulling it towards the destination, and Mashiach is pulling it towards yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The manhig is I'm pulling it to me to acquire it. This is my animal.
Well, both of them are constitute a kinyan. When he does either one of these acts with the intent to acquire, it'll be a valid kinyan. Just maybe we can understand a little bit better by the fact that Rashi is saying over here, this is what the is that each different animal has its own method of acquisition. That's what Rashi is saying over here. Chamor, the donkey, Darko, his way in terms of acquisition is Bahanhoga, by leading it or causing it to uproot its legs and go in the desired direction, destination that he wants to go. That's what the derech of its derech is. It's a little bit unclear to me when Rashi says it's derech, its way in what? What's the way that you're talking about? Its way of acquisition, its way of usage, its way of exerting authority over it. I'm not sure exactly what Rashi means when he says that the donkey, its way is with hanhoga, with that particular type of a kinyan. I would assume it's because the use, and as opposed to the gamal, the camel, Rashi says, darko the meshicha. Its way, its derech is by means of meshicha, by means of a kinyan meshicha, which, like Phil said, is he's drawing the animal towards himself. That's a meshicha. It's not intending to cause it to go anywhere, to cause it to uproot its legs and walk somewhere. It's drawing the animal to oneself. Why it is that their method of acquisition is different is not clear to me, but that's what Rashi says, and that's borne out by what the Gemora says as well. Maybe if we read the Gemora a little more, we'll understand more what's the basis of the chilik between the donkey and the camel. Okay. But just before we go further, it seems like we have two opinions over here. We have a brisa that has two opinions. We have the Tanakama says Shnaim shahayu moshkin b'gamal umanhigim b'chamor o shahaya echad moshek ve'echad manhig b'mida zos kanu. So the Tanakama says that if you have two people and both of them are moshech, the Gamal, or both of them are manhig, the Chamor, or you have Shaya Echad Moshek ve'Echad Manhig, or one of them is doing Moshek and then one is doing Manhig. B'mida Zos, in that fashion, Kanu, both of them will make a kinyan. So it seems like the Tanna Kama doesn't make a distinction between the method of a method of kinyan. He holds that both kinyanim will work equally for either animal. But Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Rabbi Yehuda says, "La'olam lo kana ad shetiyeh mashicha begamal v'anhaga b'chamor." He's the one that makes the distinction. Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says. So Rashi's explaining according to Rabbi Yehuda, I believe. So in other words, so therefore, Rabbi Yehuda holds that no, each animal has a kinyan, which is exclusive, which each animal could only be acquired with one of these methods, and the Gamal, it works only with Mashicha, and with the Chamor it only works with Hanhaga, not with the other one. Okay. Oh, so now what does the Gemora, right? This Gemora is bringing this brisa as a toshma. Toshma means that the Gemora is saying, "Come and hear a proof." So, what exactly is the Gemora trying to prove by bringing this brisa? So, the Gemora elaborates after it brought the two shitas. It says, "Katani mihas." At any rate, we learned over here in this brisa, "O shahaya echad moshech ve'echad manhig." If one is doing moshech and one is doing manhig, moshech or manhig in aval rachuv lo. That's what the Gemara wants out of this brisa. We even though there's a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim, but what they seem to be saying is that the kinyanim that will work with the animals over here, we only have two kinyanim that are going to work with these animals. Both opinions hold only Moshech or only Manhig will make a kinyan. Aval rachuv lo, but riding on the animal, either a donkey or a camel, will not constitute any kinyan whatsoever. And so therefore what? So therefore, the Gemara wants to bring as a toshma that this will be a support to the Amoraim who held that rachuv is not kona. Okay. Okay, so we got a Rashi over here on the top of the page, B'midazu, for the next Rashi reader to read. Who's the next Rashi reader?
B'midazu. This characteristic, l'kamai mifarish the miute mai. Further on, it's going to explain what this excludes.
Yeah. And I think we have an answer to that question right now already, based upon what we just got through saying.
You're saying that in this manner they acquire means this manner and only this manner. So
yes, exactly right.
Right, it's excluding the riding.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, so we're ready to go on in the Gemora. So in other words, right now we've got a proof for the Amoraim. I think both Rav Yehuda as well as Shmuel held that Rachuv is not a Kenyan.
But didn't we say before that it was only talking about riding in the wagon?
Yeah, we'll have to say right. We'll have to say that's what they were referring to, and our Mishnah in Bava Metzia that says that Rachuv is Kona is talking about a Rachuv which is really a form of manhig. But Rachuv alone, without any type of hanhaga, without any type of leading, just sitting there, will just be like the Yoshev B'Karon, the one who's sitting in the cabin. Just like he does nothing, so too the rider does nothing.
But according to our brisa, even the rider who is using his legs is excluded, because it specifically says you got to pull. But manhig could mean with your legs. Never mind.
Okay. All right, we have we're at a time for today. Okay, so we're up to Huadin in the Gemora.
Hey, we're on page 9. We're on Tet.
Yay! A round of applause for Daf Ches, Ahmed Beis.
Amen.
Wow.
Thank you,
Amazing. All the best, everybody. Have a great Shabbos, Phil. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Take care. Okay, take care.
Enjoy your Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay.
Thanks.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, thanks for the input for the newsletter, Phil.
Good, thanks. Okay, I'm glad we're back to normal. Gotcha.
Back to normal.
All right, bye-bye.